Hi, how's it going? This is Reza. I'm calling back with my second and final video for tonight. The terrors of time travel and dark shadows, and they were terrifying. Victoria Winters is plenty proof enough, and I'm not just going to get into Victoria Winters here tonight. Keep in mind that Victoria Winters is almost hung at the gallows in 1795. I mean, this woman almost had her neck stretched, and it's insane. I've touched upon before about how her and Phyllis's Wick's journeys are different, and they really are. I mean, for those who've heard me say this before, I apologize, but for people who aren't familiar with Dark Shadows or the 1795 plot, Phyllis Wick was the governess of Sarah Collins, and Phyllis Wick had seen Barnabas died. I mean, she was there when he died, and she wasn't taken to the jail until his coffin was carried to the mausoleum. So she at least knew that Barnabas died for certain. That is not the case for Victoria Winters. Victoria Winters was taken to the jail before Barnabas became a vampire, before Angelique cursed him. That's really the big difference between her and Phyllis Wick. That and Victoria Winters saves Daniel Collins from Nathan Forbes and his henchmen, if you will. Um, she shoots, Dan. She shoots Noah Gifford. I blank on his name at times because I keep thinking of him as Harry Johnson in the present. My God, uh, Mrs. Johnson's son. God, um, but we all know she didn't really have a son. He was a spy in training. Come on, but so she comes close to getting Hunt, and really, keep in mind when Victoria comes to 1795, she doesn't really know where she is, and she's in disbelief of where she is too. But her trial and her near death experience is something that is so crazy. And when she gets back to her present day, the rope burns her on her neck, and obviously Phyllis Wick takes her place. And really, what Phyllis Wick really does is take her rightful place. I mean, Phyllis Wick was always meant to die. Something, too, to keep in mind with this is, you know, I've talked about how the Collins family history book isn't the most credible thing. We know that the Collins family history book mentions Phyllis, sorry, not Phyllis Wick, but mentions Millicent Collins. But what it doesn't mention is Millicent getting married. In fact, it mentions that Millicent was never married. So her marriage to Nathan Forbes in 1795 does not get mentioned in the Collins family history book, which is really interesting. Um, Man, because no one liked Nathan's ass anyway. Um, so keep this in mind when we head into 1897. Our buddy Barnabas is going to go back in time, and now this is not the first time he time travels. Keep in mind he goes back to 1796 and cuts a deal with Angelique to save Victoria Winters from hanging. Um, Angelique puts her under a spell. Then once Barnabas and Ben Burner, Victoria wakes up and Victoria and Peter Bradford leave. So you have that. Now when Barnabas comes back to the present day of the 1960s, eventually he goes back to 1897 there's a big controversy that uh, Angelique was never really in 1897 because, no one mentions her. Keep in mind, when you say no one mentions her, if you're meaning the Collins family history book, can you really take that as credibility? Because, look, just because someone isn't mentioned doesn't mean they weren't a part of that initial sort. Keep in mind Lieutenant Nathan Forbes. Okay, he's never mentioned in the Collins family history book at all. He's not. He just really is not mentioned in the Collins family history book. So when he isn't mentioned, it just means he's not mentioned. It doesn't mean he wasn't there in 1795. And keep in mind, too, so just because Angelique's not mentioned in the family history book before Barnabas goes back to 1897, it doesn't mean she was never really there. Maybe she's summoned for another reason. Now, because keep in mind, she knows about the werewolf. She knows what's going to happen here. And sure, you could say, well, Diablos tells her she knows this because she's a witch. That's all true. She could know that because of that. In fact, she keeps, when she interacts with Barnabas, the only thing she really does is warn him to leave. Like, look, you just need to leave here. It, you're not going to change anything. And guess what? She's 1000% right. The she he does not do, because keep in mind, when Barnabas leaves 1897, does he change Chris Jennings' fate? Does he change Chris Jennings from becoming a werewolf? No. Chris Jennings is still going to be a werewolf by the end of 1897 arc. So that's another thing that, again, Barnabas did not really change anything here, uh, other than certain aspects, because, again, you know, they save the kids from the Phoenix, they save Nora and David. Does Nora initially die from the Phoenix? Maybe she does. Or sorry, not David and Nora, but Jameson and Nora. Sorry, I apologize for the goof up. So maybe she kills Nora. That is a possibility, and David's saved. So again, there's so much death. Dirk Wilkins gets turned into a vampire and gets killed. Carl Collins gets killed by Barnabas. By Barnabas, and maybe maybe it's Carl, as crazy as this sounds, maybe it's Carl who saves the kids from the Phoenix, who saves David, or Carl and Quentin who saves. I know that's far fetched, right? When you think about Carl and how goofy he is, but maybe it's Carl and Quentin who save. I keep saying David, who saved Jameson from Laura, but they don't save Nora, which is crazy, right? It's insane. But our buddy Barnabas, he ends up saving, him and Quentin both save both the kids, and really Angelique gets an assist here too, because she vanquishes Laura back to whence she came, and it's like, wow. Um, but she's still insisting Barnabas to leave. By the way, should Barnabas have just left? I mean, here's the thing: Barnabas should have left. Yeah, I gotta say he takes a lot of risk staying, and really he does ultimately get exposed as a vampire in 1897. So, and Angelique has to help him some more with that. I mean, Angelique really. Barnabas causes a lot of death, and Angelique and Barnabas and Julia are sort of the hero, and Quentin are sort of the heroes of 1897. It's sort of, it's not one specific person is the hero of 1897, even though Chris Jennings does not get cured of the werewolf curse. You more find out that Chris is related to Quentin. I mean, that's really what you're finding out. Again, this is not so much of an origin story as it is about, it's about a lot of things. It's not about one specific thing. Yes, it is about Quentin. There is that, but you get Count Patofi, you get Dirk Wilkins as a vampire, you get the Phoenix again, you get Evan Hanley is a dirt low down rotten scoundrel attorney. You get Aristide, you get Charles Delaware Tate. 1897 is a barrage of things. You get Magda, the Gypsies, the bat. Even though you don't get the exact war between the Gypsies and Capitofi, you get an idea of what happened between them, and that there is heat between these two factions, which is amazing. But Barnabas's, you know, terror of 1897 really is him being there and causing a lot of death. I mean, I've sort of joked about this but prior Barnabas going back. I don't know what 1897 was like for Mr. Best for death before Barnabas's arrival. But once Barnabas showed up, business was booming, and it was. I mean, he was getting bodies left and right. I mean, his little waiting area was a busy. Um, And then even going back to 1795, I mean, him going back there again. I mean, he takes another chance. Um, he runs into the Leviathan though too, which is crazy. And they again another risk of him time traveling. It's just danger, danger, danger. There's a lot of terror, and really the biggest. You want to look at unrelenting terror. Look at 1995. Him and Julia coming from 1970 parallel time into the future. Those 9 episodes really just, you have crazy Carolyn, crazy Quentin. Professor Stokes is a broken man in the future, which is like you don't even really recognize any of these characters that you were so familiar with. You look at them and like, what the hell happened here? I've sort of talked about this with my buddy Patrick McRae that when we did our video that it felt like George A. Romero was writing and directing Dark Shadows at this point because it really brought out the terror of this was I mean, this was a big. Patofi was the first big boss fight feel, but here was the next big boss fight feel coming. It was, you know, Judah Zachary and or you know the ghost of Gerard Stiles, so they would say, they would tell you. And that's what you thought going into 1840, the 1840 jump, is that you were led to believe that a ghost was causing all this. A ghost caused the destruction of Collinwood. A ghost caused zombies to rise up. A ghost caused Dr. Hoffman to turn against Barnabas and tell the sheriff his secret, and Barnabas had to kill the sheriff. I believe there was an assist from Josette, if memory serves me. Go, Josette. Go. See, Josette interferes. Um, God. By the way, you know, here's the thing. Hoffman, well, Barnabas is like, I don't know how he could have found out my secret. She's like, don't you? Don't you know? Like, really, Barnabas? You can't figure it out that Julia betrayed you again? But he's like, you betray. He's shocked too. I mean, again, the acting in 1995 is so well done by everybody because it, you're sort of in agreement with Barnabas here with Jonathan Fred's character. It's like you are shocked she betrayed him because it's like, wait, you betrayed me? Why? Like, I don't understand. And then it's like you get how powerful this guy is, whoever he is, whether he's a ghost or something else. And then again, just 1995 is so heartbreaking. And then when you get back to 1970 and then it happens right in front of you, Barnabas and Julia can do nothing to stop this damn thing. That's all the more heartbreaking. And again, once they go back, when they go to 1840, the danger, the threat is real. You find out that it's not so much the ghost of, you know, this guy. It's this warlock, this Judah Zachary. He inhabits, Gerard Stiles' body. He possesses him and controls him, and it makes it all the more terrifying. Again, the time travel in Dark Shadows was truly terrifying, and I mean every bit. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, if we do get time travel with the new series that Mark B. Perry is creating. I do think we will. I don't know what time period we would jump to, but uh, that would be really interesting to see what we get. Maybe we maybe there's already been time travel and there's a villain in the present day. We don't know. We'll just have to see. Again, the terror of time travel was a very real threat. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys have a great night.